Guys, Grinding Gear Games is absolutely insane. They just dropped a brand new Ascendancy less than 24 hours before the launch of the new league, and oh my gosh, this Ascendancy actually looks kind of strong. So let's go and hop in to talk about this Ascendancy, what each kind of node does, and also some of the potential that I see within this Ascendancy as well. So this is going to be a Sorceress Ascendancy, the Disciple of Varashta, and it is going to be focused around these Jinn, kind of like Balbala. It's like a Balbala themed, or like her, like, I guess, world background. And you have 3 Jinn: Ruzan, the Blazing Sword; Navira, the Last Mirage; and also Kalari, the Tainted Sands. And these minions are different than your usual minions because they don't come out and kind of walk alongside of you like your regular minions. They only come out when you call upon them using a command skill, or they have kind of like a passive like Ruzan, where Ruzan will come out whenever you use like a damaging skill. So it's not like a typical minion build, and as a result, you can actually probably use all of these on a non-minion build, even though they do all have minion tags. So if you want to buff the amount of damage that they do, you're probably going to want to be scaling minion damage. But even if you aren't scaling minions, you could potentially use their abilities because they aren't like a traditional minion. So hopping into each of these specific Jinns, we have Ruzan, the Blazing Sword, which is going to be more of a just damaging Jinn. It doesn't look like there's too much utility from this Jinn at all. The one thing it does do is that it does inflict exposure, so that is kind of the only piece of utility that it provides. But other than that, it looks like everything else is more focused around damage. And the cool thing about Ruzan is that aside from using its command skill to make Ruzan come out, every time you use a damaging skill, it will also come out and attack enemies. So this will be something that you'll be using alongside of your regular attacks, including other command skills as well. And there's a 4-second cooldown on whenever Ruzan comes out. All the skills, there's not really too much to talk about. They're just damaging spells, and you're going to be using it alongside of your kit to just do additional damage. Whereas the next one, Navira, does have quite a bit more utility. Let me move my big head over here and block some of the text. So Navira is a minion that does seem a little bit more support focused. So you can see right here, when you trigger Navira's command, she grants allies increased regeneration rate. And there's a command skill right here as well, Navira's Embrace, which I'm not sure exactly what it does. There was footage of it in the trailer itself, but it was really hard to tell what exactly it did. So it comes a little bit later here where there drops like a bubble right there. You see that? So you can see that they just dropped the skill, which is the same icon as this one right here. So I'm not exactly sure what it does. It might give you a little bit like of a ward effect right here. You see 540. Usually that kind of like represents ward, or like kind of having guard, like a little bit of a damage barrier. So potentially you get a little bit more effective HP when you're in this barrier, but it's hard to say exactly what it does. But Navira's Oasis is going to be turning chilled ground into an oasis, which gives you flash charges, damage recouped as life and mana, and plants in the area also become overgrown. So more supporty things. Pretty cool that it gives you flash charges, because there's not that many things in the game that actually gives you like a burst of flash charges. So potentially this could be interesting for the campaign, I guess, when you're running into some of that issue. But later on, that kind of becomes a little bit of a non-issue, unless you're talking about maybe like utility flasks, which we do have some in the game. So that could be a potential use for that there as well. But I don't see this being like used as a core of any real build, because there is an 8-second cooldown onto it. It's probably going to be just a little bit of a nice to have. And then Navira as well, which is another command skill, gives you energy shield recharge rate. And then this one right here is the interesting one to me, Navira's Fracturing. So it makes it so all nearby sources of chilled ground that have enemies on them will do a big nuke of damage. As you can see, 2.3k to 3.4k cold damage is a lot of spell damage. And it fractures all chilled ground within 6 meters. So my question with this, right, is that does it also fracture like chilled ground affixes from maps, or does it have to be your chilled ground? I'm not entirely sure. I would assume it's only your chilled ground, but if it is also the chilled ground from maps, that would be absolutely insane for anybody. So that's really cool. And we can kind of drop into what the gameplay looks like for that in right over here. So you can see right here, right? Drops chilled ground, and then he blows it up, right? And you can see that there is a good bit of cooldown reduction that they have on this character, because you see the skill itself doesn't take 5 seconds to come back, and it actually comes back relatively quickly, right? You see, use it in quick succession right here to blow up the ground. So there is a potential that you can make this a main damaging skill and a part of your main rotation for damage while mapping, which is really cool. I think there's a lot of potential to go into Navira for sure. And then lastly, we have Kalari, which has minions of its own. So it's the only one that has some sort of presence, just like permanent minions. But also Kalari is really cool. And I really do think Kalari might be one of the more universal ones, because Kalari inflicts critical weakness, which is so strong. It is one of the most powerful debuffs that you can have in Path of Exile 2, because critical weakness will add to your base crit, which then gets multiplied by all of the other increases to crit that you have. Base crit is one of the best increases to your crit chance. So I can really see Kalari as a Jhin that everybody is going to be using, no matter what build they're using. Whether you're using a minion build, an attack build, a spell build, whatever it might be, you could use Kalari into your build to help you out with your basically single target mostly, right? So this is really cool. Lastly, I want to talk a little about each of these specific passive points that aren't like active for the minions. And I think there's some real potential here that could be super strong, mainly in instruments of power. But before we go to that, we'll talk about each of these, right? So Varashta's intuition, 100% of elemental damage taken is taken from Mana for Life. I'm not sure how useful that one specifically will be, because I don't think there's a lot of sources where you can convert, like, let's say physical or like other sources of damage into ele damage. There's only one node that I can think of that only does like 5% to a random element. There's not too much of it. So it'll be hard to say how useful this will be. This one right here, Sacred Rituals, makes it so that your current energy shield is added. Well, 60% of a currency energy shield is added to your armor. I'm hoping that goes in before any of the multiplications from the percent increase armor that you have, for determining your physical damage reduction from armor. So we'll see how this exactly works. But this is a potential like armor energy shield play, which is one of the more underpowered archetypes in the game right now. So maybe this might bring that into viability. This also right here, the fourth teaching, which is the one you get before that, makes it so that you have faster energy shield recharge delay. Not really. I mean, it is useful, right? It is useful, but it's hard to say how exactly useful it will be in like an energy shield armor situation, just because not many people play it. But again, the big ones I'd say are Instruments of Power and Baryonic Ley Lines. So Instruments of Power makes it so that you can equip a focus while wielding a staff, but you only get 50% of the bonuses you get from the focus. But that already in itself is insane. Because if you think about it this way, right? Staves are supposed to be basically an equivalent of a wand and a focus. But being able to wield a focus and a staff means that you get all the power of the wand and the focus plus more. And in a game right now where plus levels to your skills is very, very important, just the fact that you can get a +1 with this makes this extremely powerful. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, but you can only get a +1 now and you can't get +2 on your foci anymore, right? That is complete misinformation, guys. This line right here, I think, is what most people are referring to. The +1 all spell skills from Focus and Amulet is now has a level requirement of +10. So it's not saying that you only have +1 spell skills, guys. It's just saying that this of the mage will now have a higher level requirement. So that's all it is. You will still be able to get +2 level to all spell skills. And of course, with the Desecrated modifier, you can get +2 to level of all minions. So that means if you have a +2 level focus, that will become a +1 level focus. But on top of that, you still get the other bonuses from your focus as well, like crit chance and all that stuff. It's just gonna be quite insane, right? All of these right here, the crit chance for spells, crit damage, like you will be able to get all of this on top of your staff, which is insane. Just that +1 again, +1 level will increase your damage so much at the high end that I can see that, everybody taking this ascendancy will probably be taking Instruments of Power. And then Baryonic Ley Lines is also really good. Non-unique time loss jewels will have a 40% increased radius. So that is half, 1.5 basically. I mean, it's 1.4, but almost 1.5x the size of your time loss jewels, which is quite strong. So this ascendancy is going to be very, very strong, very powerful. And the fact that they popped it at the last moment, I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of people might end up missing out on this ascendancy because of that, because they've all decided that they want to go druid or something.
Hi.
And to be honest, like I think most of the excitement is around the druid, and this might become an afterthought that again will be potentially one of the most powerful spell casting ascendancies out there. And even if you're not a spellcaster, again, this is really, really strong. So there it is, guys. This ascendancy is really cool. I can't wait to see what builds come out with it. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of this ascendancy. Are you going to start this ascendancy? Are you going to play this ascendancy? Are you excited about this ascendancy? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, the best way to support the channel is by hitting the sub button. And I also stream every single day, including tomorrow, which I'll be streaming the entire day for the league start. Twitch.tv/MeSoXchiro. Hopefully I can see you guys there, but if not, hopefully I'll see y'all on the next video. All right, guys, peace.